welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of December 23rd, 2019. Every week we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. I'm Nicole Erdix, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
And Terry Morrow.
Hello.
This week we're talking about baby gifts and stress-busting foods, plus taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today we are talking about Home Alone. Not the beloved Christmas movie, but the real-life scenario. So our question today it comes from an article on ScienceDaily.com, and it relates to leaving your kids at home alone and what is the appropriate age. And this is not really referring to when you fly to Paris or some exotic location and leave your kids behind, but, just to run an errand or go to a meeting or, duck out to the grocery store. And so a survey of social workers, according to this article, said that the appropriate age is age 12. So I'm wondering if you agree, disagree, what your thoughts are on that, what your practice has been in the past. Over to you.
One of the reasons I never watch Home Alone more than the once that I did is because the whole scenario of accidentally leaving your kid home alone is like one of those nightmare scenarios. Talk about parenting related horror movies as we did a while ago. That would be it. That your kid is left home alone and you can't get there. Mm-hmm. And he's being besieged by robbers.
Mm-hmm. He does well for himself.
He does well for himself, but
but you're right. It is a nightmare for his mother.
Yes, I feel so much for that character.
Yeah, I think it is just 1,000% dependent on the individual child.
Yes, if your child is Kevin McAllister, you're good to go.
And also the combination. The combination of children, because sometimes you might have one that can and one that can't, or one that could be left alone, but not if they're with their sibling. I think that happens a lot. I mean, in my experience, my kids were fine together, but that's definitely not always the case, I know.
Right. So. Yeah, I could have never left my son with my daughter, even now. We went away, my husband and I went away over the summer to Europe, but my kids were 18 and 23. And even then we were stressed. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Every minute of the day. It's not a good combination.
Yeah. So. My kids are 29 and 26 and we still don't leave them alone very much. And they don't want to be left alone. I mean, I don't think my son cares that much, but my daughter is uncomfortable with it. Yeah. She has anxiety. Right. And my feeling with them has always been, if nothing happened, they would be absolutely fine. They're perfectly competent. They can make themselves a sandwich. They can, they can do fine in the normal routine. But if something went wrong, I don't know that they would know what to do or how to handle it. So just as well to call friends to come stay with them when we go someplace. We don't go places very often, but we went to a wedding and I asked a friend to come over, even though really they would have been fine. It would have been fine. Surely it would have been fine. It would have been fine, right? But
but like you said, it's their comfort level too.
Yes. And they did, my daughter especially did not want to be alone. And from, every year my son goes to the state Special Olympics and my husband and I go there to watch him. And now that my daughter is working, she can't necessarily go with us. And, part of me is trying to be the big salesman. Hey, this would be a great opportunity for you to try out being alone. It'll be fine. We'll have people you can call if there's a problem. It'll be good. But she just, no. So, one of these years, she's going to be 30 next year. Maybe by 40, she'll be able to stay home alone for a weekend. But it's, one of those choosing your battles, triage kind of things. She's doing a lot of things that are important and independent and grown up. This one I can pass on.
Well, and I think it's largely situational too. Like you said, in terms of your kids, it depends, on certain things.
Right.
The other part of that too is, for example, with my son, he could only go to after school care until he was 12.
Oh.
And then, past that, we didn't have any options. Like even though we lived in a close knit community and I did have people who were around that we could call on if we needed to, we didn't really have anybody that would provide care for him after school. And it turns out fortunately he didn't need it. He was independent enough and he was fine enough to come home and, do his thing after school. And then we transitioned to having him also do that before school. So my husband was able to leave on time. And, we had a few little hiccups along the way. It wasn't easy, but so we were in a situation where he had to be on his own at age 12. Like if my husband and I were to work and, keep doing what we're doing. So, and then fortunately with my daughter, by the time she got older, I was at home anyway. So working from home. So, but so then there's that whole, okay. So that's great. Social workers say age 12, but what about parents who, and I'm not saying like leave your kid when they're 5, but there's,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's, as Catherine said, there's kids who can absolutely do it young. And there's kids who can't even do it when they're much older. So you have to know your kid and decide on, but if you don't, times when I had to work, we hired somebody to be in the house with them early on. And then after that, I was able to adjust my schedule around school. But not everybody can do that. I don't know. Right. I'm so fortunate never to have had to make a decision to tell a kid who was uncomfortable being home alone, too bad. You'll be fine. Call me at work. But I know there are people who do.
Especially when if like say you were working in the city, like that's an hour no matter what,
Right.
Like when my daughter was a baby and my husband and I both worked and she went to a childcare center that was close to where we lived. And then we each worked like an hour away in opposite directions. So, no matter what, it was going to take somebody close to an hour to get to her if she needed anything. So.
Oh, wasn't there, speaking of movies with parenting nightmares, we should have thought of all these when we were talking about horror movies. There's some movie with Sally Field where her daughter was being murdered or abducted or
it's Not Without My Daughter.
She was on. God. No, I don't think it was that. I think it was something else. She was on the highway and she couldn't get there in time. And she was on the phone with her daughter while this thing was going on. But she was unable to get there. I think it was Sally Field. I wasn't Not Without My Daughter because it was an older kid.
Okay.
And we'll find the name of the movie if I can bear it.
Oh, I don't want to know.
But I think of that every time if my kid's going to be home alone and I'm too far away to get there instantly, that I'm going to be in one of those scenarios. And so it's like, oh, fine. I'm going to find somebody to sit here with you. I can't take it. It's too dramatic for me. But at the same time, I do feel like it's good to have kids get comfortable with that independence early on. I think it's good for them to learn how to, amuse themselves and do things for themselves and feel comfortable being in charge. Maybe not at 6, but it's certainly in their teens and preteens. I wish I could, but I have never felt like I had kids for whom that would be the right decision.
And your kids also have other things they do that are independent. I mean, your daughter
That's right. Yes.
Cooks and shops and, runs errands. You know what I mean? Like she's
doing excellently in many adulting skills.
Right.
She's right at the top. She's A+ in many of them. This is one that she's just decided to put off for another semester. Deferred. She'll be deferred in that, We'll push that down the line.
Yeah.
It's just not important.
It's funny because my kids both have, there's certain things that they're really good at being independent at and other things, I just wonder, if my daughter did not have GPS, she would never go get anywhere. She has no sense of direction and she depends entirely on GPS. My son can find his way around, but he can't understand that if you don't wash your clothes, then you don't have any clean clothes.
Right.
he just lets them sit there and sit there and sit there. And then he's like, Mom, I have no clothes. I'm like, well, I guess it's because they're all in the hamper.
Mm-hmm.
It's on your floor. Funny how little things, different things that they absorb, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
About independence.
Well, I guess this is why it's like theoretically good to send them off to college where, you have to do what you have to do and mom can't like jump on a plane and come and help you.
Okay. I think I did that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But you didn't go there to do her laundry for her.
No.
Theory and execution are often different. But,
I didn't. Although that was a side chore that I ended up doing. Yes, we did gut out her room and tidy it up. But, yeah.
Well, eventually, one day, perhaps, they will get there. And we will let them get there.
We'll think about it.
And not facilitate their not wanting to be alone. But
my kids are both like 100% see ya, go. Like, a couple months ago, my husband and I were going to go somewhere just for 2 nights, and we were going to leave the kids alone. And we changed our plans at the last minute, and we didn't go. And my son told the mom who was carpooling him, and, I had arranged all these carpools and stuff, and so she drove him anyway, and he was like, yeah, I was really looking forward to some alone time. He was disappointed that he did not go anywhere. So.
How young were you guys alone when you were kids? Were you latchkey kids? Did you just hop on home and hang out? I don't think I was home alone very much.
I wasn't, because I had younger siblings and we had a babysitter / we started calling them housekeepers when we were not babies anymore. We always had somebody after school because, there were 3 of us and we all had different things going on. So it was mostly a feed us a snack and drive us around person. Until I was 18.
Yeah.
My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, my mom tells me the story that she did take a job when we were younger, and it lasted 2 days. Because, actually it lasted 1 day, because the first day of work that she went, I think because I was like maybe 8 and my brother, no, I was a bit older, maybe 10 and my brother was 5. And she came to pick us up from the babysitter's house. We were outside sitting on the porch by ourselves waiting for her. Oh. and we looked really sad and lonely and we were hungry, and my mom quit her job that same day. Broke her heart.
Honestly, I think I have pretty much exactly the same story. I remember my mom went to work for a very short time, just because I think she felt she was supposed to. And once I got to a certain age, and it did not last. It was very short-lived. I think she was too unhappy to not be home with me. My wonderful, wonderful knee. How could she leave me for even a moment?
She soon learned her lesson.
That's right. Finally, I just ditched her. But, speaking of parenting horror stories. Yes. Eye for an Eye is the name of the movie, by the way. 1996. If you ever see it come up on your Netflix queue, run screaming. Leave it home alone. Don't leave the house. Yes, exactly. Go to the mall.
Well, that is it for today's round 1 with that non-recommendation there for a movie. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round 2, where we may talk about happier movies. And later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.